Welcome back, conservative brothers and sisters. This past month has been very difficult, and it probably has for you as well. A month ago, when Charlie Kirk was killed, there was this sickening feeling I had in my stomach that still persists. There's a scene in Star Wars in Episode 3, it's called Revenge of the Sith, and it's the scene called Order 66. Basically, the big evil bad guy, Emperor Palpatine, has finally got the power he wants, and then all of a sudden he commands all of the clone troopers to turn against the Jedi, and there's this really sad, depressing scene that just fills the viewer with doom and horror. You can feel the texture of the movie and of the Star Wars universe change in this moment. And I would say I had a similar feeling when Charlie Kirk was murdered. And it's not just that he was murdered, it's the reaction of extreme people to his murder, the justification of it, the intolerance about it, or even the flat out celebration of it. It's really disgusting. It's really disturbing. And you think to yourself, these people who celebrate the death of this guy, of Charlie Kirk, it's not just that they're celebrating the death of him. In a way, they're projecting their hatred and disdain onto him. But if you consider and play this out a little further, you realize, well, Charlie Kirk was a moderate Republican. He was a classic old school conservative guy. He didn't have extreme views. He was charitable to his opponents. He didn't make bad faith arguments. He gave them a fair shot. He listened to them. He helped articulate their beliefs fairly, while also defending his own. And doing that opened up a lot of people's minds. And he was so good at it that some people felt they had to take his life because he was so good at defending his values. They couldn't stand it, I suppose. But when you realize that Charlie Kirk represents us as conservatives, by and large, I agreed with the things he said. Not every single thing, of course, but generally, I did, and I do. These people would celebrate my death too. And if you're watching this and you have conservative values, you can relate to Charlie Kirk and people like that, they would celebrate your demise as well. It's really quite disturbing to think that we're living amongst people like that truly hate us, that think we deserve death. People like us, people who think like we do, we deserve the cruelest death. We deserve to die like an animal. That's how some of these people feel. That's how they think. And they put it out there shamelessly for the world to see it. Just imagine the boldness, imagine the arrogance of those people to do that. But I'm happy they did. It's best your opponent shows you their hand. Isn't it disturbing though? It really is so sickening. The whole thing is just a nightmare that you feel like it isn't really real. I wasn't particularly a huge follower of Charlie Kirk. The main guys I listened to when I was first learning about politics were Steven Crowder and Ben Shapiro and then it kind of stemmed from those guys, right? But I'd seen videos of Charlie Kirk, and I'd seen him be a competent debater, a competent orator. I'd also seen him really exemplify what it means to be a Christian. He had like a presence about him where he seemed to actually have love for his opponents. He really did. He had this kindness towards them and this gentleness about how he treated them. And that's what almost makes it like worse in a way, because he was so kind. What are we supposed to do? What are people like us supposed to do? Seriously. So many places in this country are overtly hostile. You can't say what you think in many places. As conservatives, I think I can speak for us a little bit. We're generally pretty fair to our opponents, right? We can disagree with them. We don't have anger towards them. We don't have to hate them if they disagree with us. We don't need to call them a mean name. We don't have to call them anything. We can just disagree with them and explain why we disagree with them. We don't have to call them something akin to a Nazi just because they don't agree with us. But that's what many on the left do to people like us and to people who speak for us. Charlie Kirk went on the battlefield to defend our beliefs, to defend our values, and he knew he was taking a risk every time he did it. And he died for it. He knew there's a risk. And he went dutifully anyway, because in his mind it was worth it. It was worth the risk to try to reach people, however hostile they were to him. And that's really what a true Christian would do, I think. I know some true Christians, and I think they would agree. It's tense talking about it. I'm actually a little bit tense, and I hope you can excuse me. But it does feel like we're kind of cornered. You think to yourself, if we can't talk and rationalize with these people, then what are we supposed to do? What are we supposed to do? Someone who thinks like us deserves to die? A moderate conservative, a moderate Republican, who was kind to his opponents. He wasn't even one of the more harsh debaters. He was probably one of the friendliest I've ever seen, actually. You think about a nation and a country. Imagine you're getting drafted to a war, and you think to yourself, well, I'm going to go risk my life, and I might die for my country. I might die for my nation. Who would you be dying for? A lot of the people you'd be dying for wouldn't value your sacrifice. It's scary to share a country with people who so earnestly want you to lose and to be destroyed. Since this tragedy, I've had this feeling of doom, as I mentioned, right? This pit in my stomach, this Order 66 dark feeling. It's hard to know how to respond, right? I think we learned some important things, though. We learned that we are principled and we did not stoop. It's those moments, it's the hardest moments when you're angry and you feel justified in your anger and your mind is racing. It's those moments that are when you're truly tested. And we proved ourselves. I went to many vigils. I witnessed various services. And all I saw was unity and peace and trust in God. The people that were talking about prayer. They talked about not taking vengeance. Many of these people said something like this. They said that, I'm paraphrasing that, they said, you know, we're pissed off, we're angry, we have a right to be angry, but we're going to give it to God, they said. We're not going to take vengeance. We're not going to destroy things. We're not going to riot. We're not going to loot. We're not going to destroy cars. We're not going to harass or menace people. We're going to have our prayers. We're going to have our vigils. We're going to talk together. And we're going to get through this together. That's what I saw. That's what I witnessed. And it's not that there's not crazy people on the right. It's not that there's not violent people on the right. But we diffused them. We held them accountable and said, there's not going to be any violence. We will not take violence. We will not stoop. We won't do it. And that I can recall there wasn't one incident of any kind of aggression like that. It gives you this feeling of what do I do now? If you're like me, I know I'm new to this, you don't know that much about me, right? I started watching these political videos when I was around 14. You know, like I mentioned, Stephen Crowder and Ben Shapiro. And then it kind of branched out to all these different thinkers, right? On all sorts of perspectives. You know, oh, who's this Sam Harris guy? Who's Jordan Peterson? Who's Christopher Hitchens? You know, where do they get their ideas from? What book is that about, right? It's just this never-ending web of people. What's this debate? What's this debate? Who's this guy? What does he have to say? What did she think? Right? It's just this big web of people. And all this time you're learning about the world and politics. You're learning about the different ideas out there, right? Maybe you'll encounter somebody with very different ideas, and maybe they have some good ideas that you can acknowledge, right? And then maybe you're figuring out, how do I defend my ideas? How do I articulate myself so I can defend what I believe and think? And there's this feeling where I don't really feel interested in defending myself anymore. Like, not that I'm not going to defend myself, or not that I'm not going to articulate my beliefs, but I don't feel the need to. I don't really care to with some people. For example, with the people, those types of people who would celebrate the murder of Charlie Kirk, I don't feel a need to talk to them. I don't feel a need to explain myself. I don't feel a need to, go find the right video that explains the thing about this belief or that belief, read about this. I don't even feel the need to do it with those people. And I don't mean about with classical liberals or even progressives. I would still come to the table with those people. But not with the far ones, not with the far left. I don't care to be around them. I don't care to associate with them. I want nothing to do with them. It's not even anger I have, it's apathy. It's apathy. I have nothing left for them. You know, if you're like me, it's like the last so many years, the last 5, 7 years have been about learning and educating yourself and having conversations and talking to people who think totally different than you. And it's like, you know what? There's nothing you can say to these people. There's nothing you can say. You think to yourself, if I just say this and explain that, then they'll see that I'm a good guy, I'm a nice person. I'll just explain this and explain that. I don't have anger or hatred in me. I just think this and this and this. They don't even care. They don't care. It doesn't matter. There's nothing you can say to them. And when there's nothing you can say to talk to somebody, when there's nothing you can say for them to hear you out or to open their mind to you, at that point you're wasting your breath, in my opinion. And there's many times I've wasted my breath explaining myself to people who they don't care. They don't care. In their mind, I'm just a bad, evil guy. And that's it. No matter what I say, it doesn't matter. They don't care. And so with those types of people, there's no point. I'm not interested in trying to save them. I just have apathy. It's more formidable to have apathy than anger or rage. Anger and rage will just cause us to make mistakes, to say things we don't mean, to be unfocused. Apathy is much more useful. When I see the videos of, like I said, these people, when I say these people, I'm referring to the people literally who celebrated Charlie's death. That's what I'm referring to, not the entire left. It goes without saying, I think, but I still want to articulate that. Right? These people. When I see them celebrating and you look at their eyes and there's like this soulless quality. There's evil you can feel. There's actual evil. I'm not saying these people are inherently evil, but there's evil happening. You can see it in their eyes. You can like detect it. It's weird. I'm not even a very spiritual person, but you know when you feel evil, and you can feel it in these videos. You know, when they're celebrating and laughing and explaining it away. Well, that's what he gets, they say. Really? Is that what he gets? Again, I'm going to go back to another point. If you can't talk to people, if you can't come to the table and talk it out, what are you left to do? You know the answer to that. I don't have to say it. We have to be able to live amongst ourselves. We have to be able to speak. We have to be able to rationalize. These people are not rational people. They're not sensible. They don't have common sense. They don't have decency. They're not receptive to rationality. And you can see it again in the way they act towards this violence. They're not able to be accessed. And they're very dangerous people. It's very dangerous that we even have that going on. I know it's tough. I know the last month has been really brutal for a lot of people. but there has been unity. I've seen people coming together. It has sparked dialogue, and as tragic and horrible as it is, I don't doubt that all of us would do anything to go back in time and stop it. But good has come of this, and good will come of it. It feels like as conservatives, we're always playing defense. It always feels like imagine a football game. The offense, the left, is moving and moving and moving closer to our end zone we're defending. And they just keep marching down the field. And basically, our whole game is just slowing their offense. It doesn't feel like we're on offense very much. And I'm speaking more culturally, right? Because you could look at politics and say, oh, look, the Republicans, we've had a president here, here, and here, and we've had the House here and here, and the Senate, and, you could point to those kind of things. I'm speaking more culturally, right? Even when we have presidents that supposedly stick up for us and supposedly are looking out for our interests, it seems like the culture still gets a little worse. You know? I would rather have a presidency under a Democrat, but our culture is strong and united, and our values are strong, than a Republican president and the culture is terrible and our values are disintegrating. Right? That's what all this is for. This whole American dream is for the ordinary people. It's for you and me and people working jobs that they don't always get credit for, they don't always get the appreciation for. It's not always, glorified in Hollywood. Our lives aren't exceptional, elite lives. Not all of us have, we're not celebrities. But we're who this whole thing is for. This whole endeavor, this whole dream, is for the little guys. It's for us. The ordinary men and women who don't get the credit always, but they're the backbone of the country. That's who the whole thing is for. At some of these vigils and rallies and things, I heard people say, what if they shoot Trump next? What if they get him? And I thought, our movement can't be that fragile that it dies with a few people. We can't put our eggs in the Trump basket or these influencers basket. We have to be stronger than that. I think, and this is just my intuition, but I feel like the left is less concerned with authority. They don't seem to really care or just do things because one of their leaders says so. Like the ordinary people on the left, they just mobilize very quickly, it seems like, with whatever movement they're pursuing. They just seem like fluid to do what they have to do, to go after what they want to go after. They don't really need a top-down authority. And it feels like, I think, conservatives, authority matters more to them, I think. And so I think that they look to authority more. They look to these people like Trump and these different speakers of our values. Not that they don't have an important role, but I think that we should learn from our opponents who've been culturally winning in the recent decades. Why don't we learn from them? They've been kicking our asses in almost every area, it feels. We're stupid not to learn from them. I think that we place too much emphasis on our leaders, or our speakers. We need to be invested in the unity and the strength and the mobilization of the ordinary people. That's our strength. Hardworking, honorable, good values, self-control. That's the strength of conservatives, right? We can't be too reliant on who's the president, or if this one guy dies, it's over, or if this guy gets killed, then we're screwed. No, we cannot be so weak. We cannot be weak. We have to have strength in the everyday people, me and you, just regular people. That's where our strength lies. And that's where the left's strength lies too. The left has strength with ordinary people. They get shit done. They advance their values, right? They're tough. We have to be tougher or we're going to lose. Like, this is real life. This is actually happening. Politics has never been more real. I didn't start making these videos until now. This is the part of the movie where you have to do something. You have to take action. You have to galvanize the troops. And it's really admirable to see a lot of people doing that, and a lot of young people too. It's like the past generations, the past leadership, they have failed to protect our values. We can blame the liberals all we want. We can blame the leftists all we want. But on some level, it's our fault. It's the fault of the conservatives who were complacent, who didn't nip things in the bud. And so it's almost noble and admirable. Not even almost, it completely is. It's completely admirable to see these people who are like trying to galvanize the troops, right? Like, hey, we've been losing our values. The left has been making huge gains recently, but we're going to galvanize. It's cool. It's actually heroic. It gives me goosebumps to see a lot of people just say, you know what? We got to step it up, man. I may risk social consequences. I may risk things at work or friendships. I got to say this. I got to do this. It's real now. It's real. This is it. All the movies you've watched, they have to mean something, right? Don't they have to mean something? All the heroes you've watched and read about, all the men and women who've done epic things to save the city. Did you watch those movies for any reason, or did you just sit there? I didn't watch them for nothing. I didn't read about my ancestors and their heroic things for nothing. There's a trajectory to it, right? We learn from these epic stories, and we are to embody them. We're going to be leaders. We're going to be heroes. We're going to be defenders. And in 100 years, our descendants will look back and say, look, they did it. They did it. They didn't give up. And they recovered. And they didn't get beaten by people who hate them. That's the story that will be told. But it won't be told if we don't get tough. If I get tough, I don't mean violent in any way. I mean socially tough, with money, with relationships, with connections. We've got to rally the troops. We've got to do whatever it takes to save this country, to save our values. We have to. There's no other way. Again, all the movies you watched, all these superhero movies where you wish you could be Captain America, you wish you could be Batman, you wish you could be whoever. Now you can. This is your chance. This is your chance to be the hero you've always wanted to be. Don't waste that chance.